Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jett. Today I'm bringing you another speed build video on Farm Together, and I'm so excited to be here because we are going to be designing another garden area that's gonna be attached to the lake cabin that we did in Susan's farm. Yes, we are back on Susan's farm and we got all of this. I got all of this land to do whatever I want, and that is so cool. But like always, we want to design something different, something unique, something that I haven't done yet, and I wanted something that was going to look really good. And we just got the waterfall update, so my mind strictly already went, if I want to do a garden and I want to do a garden center, then I kind of want to do a fountain in the middle, right? And by utilizing the terraforming and the waterfall, that's going to be the main center point, right? That's the main part. But as you can see, I want to do some garden edging, some garden layouts, some using the hedges and putting flowers. But at the same time, in this particular video, we want to do something amazing with the map. That's going to be very key, very important, and you're gonna see how the map turns out the end. I think we did a really good job. But as you can see, I also wanted to start very wide. So instead of going with one lane, and that was it, one tower, we went with three. And I'm gonna kind of curve this in. We're gonna go in the other way, and we're gonna have 4 entrances. So we got the first entrance that we start, then we're gonna have 1, 2 on the sides, and then 1 in the back. Now, as you guys are following this, don't forget that you can always slow down the YouTube video, put it slow, turn it down after, especially the second time you watch it, right? You watch it the first time, you see what's going on, and then if you can follow it, then slow it down, mute it so I don't sound very slow, and then you can enjoy it and keep building, right? But one of the things I'm gonna say ahead of time is I did kind of messed up a couple times, so I leave those some mistakes there so you can see it, so you can see how I fix it, because everything has to be even in all the sides. But like always, you know, you mess up one count and then one side doesn't come out the same, and then you need to tweak it just a little bit. But as you can see, we started with the 3 tile wide. So we went 3 tile wide. We're doing some of the big round hedges over here, and then I'm doing this very cool pathing. Now the thing with the pathing, I'm using the very cheap one, the one that only costs 1 diamond. Don't forget that if you're designing in this game, if you're doing layouts, don't spend your diamonds on the expensive one and then you need to delete or move everything around. Use this one, because if you delete it, you get everything back. So it's a 0 wash, so it's really great. It's really great. Okay, so as you can see, I'm doing the design and I'm getting the layout. To me, this was what the most important, because I needed to see how big my design was gonna be, how much area was gonna take, and then I can plan for the fountain and I can plan for the other side. Now this is gonna be a long walkthrough, right? It's connected to the front of the layout because it's part of it. It's part of the property line, right? That's something that we wanted to do, and we got future plans for other stuff that are coming in this particular farm. So I'm very excited for that. But that's another story, right? That's another story. Okay, so now that I had kind of the basic idea, and here I haven't noticed that I'm off just yet, so that we're gonna fix that eventually. But now I'm gonna raise it right here, and then we're gonna try to do a little fountain, right? So we're gonna do some of the terraforming. At first I was thinking going deep, but there was something about going deep I didn't like it. Now, one of the reasons I leave stuff like this instead of taking it out, because I want to make sure that you see the process, but also maybe you like, you know, just because I didn't like what I was trying to do at first, maybe you do like it. One of my reasons that this didn't work out for me is because I needed to go a little bit bigger, because I wasn't having enough space to actually have the water drop in. I needed to have a little bit more of a side, and right here I'm trying to do it, as you guys can see, but still once I extended it, it just created a little less. Now if you give yourself more space, you can actually have it drop off, have another square, and then have it drop into the bottom. So that's another idea that I'm probably gonna do in another design for another farm. So I'm excited to try that out once I got more space to do that. But what I decided on is do a little edging right over here, and then just have the water. Now this design of the fountain, I ended up changing it because it wasn't looking the way I wanted to look at the map. I really wanted the map to look a little bit more different. So in the future, you're gonna see this. The next time that I came back, I'm gonna change this. And I believe it looks better. But if you like this original one, then you got it. And then if you like the second one, that is the official one that I did at the end, I think actually looks more better because we do have more water, and in the map it looks even cooler. So I really like that. But as you can see, this is very simple design, you know, just getting our, you know, we just getting into the water, just testing how this waterfall and what else we can do that is not just for the waterfall, but how we can incorporate that into build. But as you can see, I'm just going around adding the water, making sure that I'm making something nice here, also aesthetically on the map. I wanted to have shape, and then what we did, we're gonna add more water and extend that, so to make it feel like a big round fountain with a lot of water poured in and out. Now something here that I didn't like the way this is coming out in here. So I decided that I want to have space in between, and in this space we're gonna plant some trees. So now we went with the cherry because they're pink. They remind me like cherry blossom, and I think that's gonna be something very pretty to add to a walkway. Now don't forget that you can use any tree, any shape, pine trees, anything, depending where you put in this, right? So it's gonna be up to you at the end what kind of tree or what kind of scenario you want to do. Now this is when I'm realizing that there was something wrong in my math, and I'm trying now to fix it. And this is something to encourage you, right? Not everything comes out the first time. Sometimes you gotta move things around. Don't be afraid to delete, don't be afraid to move, don't be afraid to rearrange. If an idea is not working, then just restructure it and shape it again and work hard until you get the design that you really want. And don't be disappointed. I do mistakes all the time. Every single time that I'm designing, I make mistakes, I mix count, but it's the effort and the time that you do and you take to make it work. And that's what I needed to do. And that wasn't even it. I still need to fix it one more time. So I'm letting you ahead of time, because sometimes you don't catch it, you know, and it's okay. And sometimes they take a lot of work, sometimes they're easy fixes, but we're gonna get there. So I'm gonna start looking at the map over here. I like what I'm seeing, I like the way it's shaping. So now we're gonna extend it over here. Now as you can see, all the walkways right now are not even because there's no land unlocked on the other side. I cannot go over here. There's a lot of stuff to move around. So Susan took care of that. She expanded the land, she moved all the crops because we wanna, you know, have the same length. So the length was about 10 squares, so we wanna have 10 square all the way around so we can do the proper walkways and the proper design. And then right now I'm just taking it out, shaping it up, having the square where I'm planning to put the trees and all of that. Now there is a couple things that are gonna come in the future that I did leave in, but then we're gonna skip because there was no point of seeing everything. I'm just gonna show you what things look like and the changes that I did, and then you can pick and choose what you ended up liking. But as you can see, one of my process is I'm duplicating when I do things, right? When I know things are gonna look the same in every single side, then I work in that process. That way I can have my pieces, I can see the direction, and I can see my vision. Now something that I really wanted to do as well, and I mentioned it earlier, is to make this kind of look more like a garden, right? And do hedge work. And we got beautiful hedges here. Now I haven't dove or tried the white ones or the pink one. I'm more a very realistic type of builder, and I'm just doing the green ones right now. But if you want to do it with colors, you want to do it with the pink, you want to do the white, depending where you're at, maybe you want extra color, you know, try it out, and then let me know how it turned out. But I'm doing some hedges design over here. I wanted to do something different. I wanted, when you're looking at this area, you have these hedges, but then it's going to be surrounded with flowers, and then inside the hedges we do another square. Inside that square I'm gonna plant the same trees, and they're gonna be a little off compared with the middle of the walkway. It's just gonna be really cool, you know, and I really like this, you know. But the funny part is that when I'm drawing something and coming up with the idea, sometimes they don't translate well when you actually do it. So it's always a risk when you're doing stuff like this, but I believe that I did come out with something good, and I really like how everything is just slowly turning in. So right now here's we're planting the first cherry trees just to see how they're gonna turn, to see if I really like it, you know, because sometimes you gotta be careful. Sometimes when you're doing a build, especially for me, I can overdo it in one color, so I want to make sure. And I wanted to work on my color palette here, so I'm going to use pink, purple, and yellows. Those are the colors that I'm going to choose to make this work. So it's really pleasant, just very pleasant to the eyes to see, all the transition very well, and I just feel like it's really nice. Now over here, before we decided to extend this section, I was already kind of readjusting my design because I was not going to have the same amount of space. But at the end, Susan and I talked and we decided to move all the crop fields so I can actually have the space that I really need to make the squares that I need to make the design. Because you know, those squares kind of evolve, so I was doing a bunch of stuff. We're gonna cut that because there's no point, there was nothing to learn in that. So we're gonna come back to it and you guys are gonna see what really went on those squares. So we're gonna come back to that. But over here, I'm realizing that I don't have the same space for the pool of water and the space, so I needed to fix that around the fountain. So we fixed that. And over here, I wanted to see, there was something that I wasn't liking. I don't know if because it was the grass or something. Something wasn't feeling right. It was pulling this garden feel. So I decided to see if I put some mud all around the area to make the walkway stand out. Now I placed it in. I wasn't liking it, but I left it in for a moment just to see, get a good feel, get a good read. Is it me? Is it not? Is it just the way everything is looking? Is it just the grass? It's just a weird feeling. And what happened is, once I started adding the things like the benches and different fencing and adding all the other trees in the middle, then the grass was going away. Everything was starting to feel like the grass is mowed and everything was starting to look really nice. So sometimes take a mental note of what's going on, why you don't like something, try something now like I did, and then go back, redo it and see what you like until you find what's really clicking. Over here, I'm fixing again because I don't have the right distance. So this is the fourth time. This is the fourth time that we're gonna fix this, and it's so easy to do mistakes when it comes counting, especially if we're going diagonal. So yeah, so as you see, not an expert. Things happens all the time. We gotta redo things all the time. And you know, and this happens because I noticed that when I'm trying to place all this stuff, everything's not coming out in the same sequence. And it's important in builds like this, especially when they're supposed to be symmetrical and the same thing in every design in all 4 parts you're gonna see in the map, and that's something that you're gonna be able to tell. So now that I'm shaping out, now everything's looking even better. You see how it looks in the map? It's like, okay, everything's coming out good. All right, so we're over here. I'm gonna change the fence. At first I put some brick fence just to try to feel it out, just to see if we like it, but it wasn't feeling, the brick wasn't standing out the way we wanted to. So we're gonna try this one. And once we added this fence, Susan looked at it, she really liked it. So you know what, we're gonna put it all across here. And this is when finally slowly it's starting to get that garden feel. And it took me a moment. I mean, I was talking with Susan and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I can't get the garden feel that I want. And sometimes it's just those little details, adding the extra fencing over here, changing the walkway or changing the tile. You know, right now we still got this tile that at the end we changed it, and that was the final touch. I feel like once we change this tile, especially if you don't like this one, you want to use something different, it gave the touch that I was looking for. But we put in the fencing, and as you can see, we're just adding the fencing, and I left this here for a little bit so you guys can see that, you know, sometimes you're gonna use a lot of diamonds, so be prepared. But once we added it, you see how everything slowly starts changing. So we fast forward a little bit, and now everything's taking shape. Now it feels more like a garden, an empty garden, but it's starting to feel like one. And that's something that I'm like, okay, all right, it's working. Everything is slowly coming together. So let me go ahead and start adding this pink. Now, again, the brown is still not working. The mud, I really wanted that accent because if you guys are following, I know I did something similar like this in my own farm and it actually looked good. But I think it's just the way the spacing is, the way everything is working. So what I decided, you know what, I need to actually cover this grass. The grass is kind of very distracting. It's not working. It's just very distracting, doesn't look done, looks unfinished, looks abandoned, and we need to fix that. So I started adding the next round of flowers because I already know I wanted to have yellow, and then we're gonna add the benches. And once I added the benches, you see how neat everything look and nice and clean. And what I decided to do is add this fencing around it. Now this might be overkill. It may not be something that you like, but I decided to surround this so I can kind of hide that extra grass that is around the hedges because it was very distracting to me. It just bothered me. And once I put the fencing, but you can see through it, it kind of took away the grass and everything looks nice and sharp, looks nice and clean. And like I said, it may be overkill, but you don't have to do it. But I decided to do it just because it made me calm. It made me calm. All right, so now we're gonna do a little hedges over here. Now these hedges, eventually we're gonna change it for the tall ones because we wanted to feel this a little more private, a little more secluded. So we're actually gonna change those into the taller one. But as you can see, everything's taking shape. The map is looking good. The design is finally looking like something that we want, and it's slowly working together. And yeah, and that's exciting, right? I changed a couple of the gates just to make sure that we have room. And as you can see, now I'm changing everything back to grass. And what I did is we're gonna take all the mud out, we're gonna leave it just grass, and then where the cherry trees are at in the walkway, that's the only thing that we're gonna add mud, and then we're gonna do this white edging around it, and that made it stand out. That made it feel really nice and clean. And between the fencing and putting the benches to take away the grass, adding the flowers, now this little area right here finally is starting to feel like a garden, you know. And I'm gonna be honest, it took a moment for me to really like it. And right here at the end, when I was with Susan before we finished day one, I was like, you know, I think I finally got it. I think we finally got there. And of course, I make sure that it was Susan approved. It was completely Susan approved. She was really happy now the way things are turning around, and we did it. So we're gonna finish day one. We got here day one. Now we're gonna start doing day two when I came back in. And the first thing that I wanted to do after more thinking about it, and it looked kind of simple in the map, so you know what, we're gonna redesign this little fountain area. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it's two different designs, so if you like the first one, keep it. If you like this new one, then do the new one. What I wanted was a little more water. It wasn't impressive, and I want this to feel more like a fountain. And what I decided to have a little more two connecting on the side, just because I think it was gonna give this view on the map. And by adding all this water, now it looks like more water, less green, and I think this looks really good. And then when you open the map, it looks fantastic. It just gives you this little look and this little shape and this little like arrows. And I think now I'm very happy, and it looks grand. It looks like this belongs here, you know, around this. It doesn't look tiny compared with the rest of the bill. Now we got the big centerpiece, and then it's surrounded with all this flower. Now in this video, I'm gonna show you this whole corner. We're gonna build this whole corner, because once you see how we did this, you're gonna repeat this whole process we did right here in all the other corners. Everything is identical. You just gotta duplicate to here. So instead of showing you every single square that we built, I'm just gonna show you this whole process here, duplicate this, added it to the build, to the other corners, and then you get everything done. So what I decided on is, I had an original idea and I was gonna do another flower arrangement over here, but I decided to scratch that idea, take it away. And what I decided to do, you know what, I should do like a little homage to the big one, and in the corners have a little smaller fountain, right? A little smaller fountain, and that's what you're seeing here. So now I'm adjusting the squares, I'm taking on this. I wanted to have two more over here, but this is not it. So when you see in this, it's okay, take a pause, don't duplicate it just yet, because that is gonna change. I did skip, I didn't show you everything there. As you can see, there's some flowers and all that stuff. All that's going away because I was building this new idea came. And this is the great thing about designing, and when you're building and when you're decorating, is when you get new fresh ideas, something that you feel like is gonna look even better. And what we did, we're gonna add more water, we're gonna add more water in another section, we're gonna surround it, and that did the trick, my friends. That did the trick. Then we added some fencing, and bam, we got a build, a super elegant, looking amazing, you know. And I love that feeling when you're building and you get inspiration. Now, all the inspiration doesn't work out all the time, because I've done that all the time. And it doesn't work out, right? It doesn't look good, doesn't work out right, but either way, it's always good to try your ideas to see where they come out. All right, so as you can see here, we're doing the same thing. We already did the entryway, right? So we're just duplicating, and now we're connecting this corner. And as you can see, slowly it's looking like a garden, right? Like a big garden that you go to, or a botanical garden. If you ever go to one of those, you know, it's amazing what people do with the hedging and the flowers and the coloring and the color palette. So that's the feel that I wanted to kind of bring into here, into Farm Together. So that's what we're working on. So you see this, we're adding the flower and keeping the same theme. Don't forget, add the trees, add the flowers, add the colors as you want. And as you can see, we're finishing here. Now, this is when I was like, more and more, I thought about it, and looking at the map, I was like, man, It'd be cool if we had a lot of blue and a lot of water, and then we make this just a little bit bigger, kind of like original fountain. Instead of this tiny one, now we make a little bit bigger, so when you're far away you can see it. And then my idea evolved, and I said, you know what, I kind of would like tall hedges here, give us a little privacy, that little sense of botanical garden, the privacy from one area to the next. And then we're gonna go all the way across, and this is what's gonna frame and hide our botanical gardens from the outside. And I'm telling you what, it really worked out. So we're edging from right here, from the entrance, we're going on the square, we attach to here, and exactly what we did here, you're gonna do that in all the other squares. So very simple, very easy. And you see this view right here? Now imagine it now with water. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna raise this up, we're gonna create that original fountain that we did in the middle before. Now that we changed it, we're gonna add all this water. Now all of this is gonna be full of water. We're gonna see this cascading, and I like this. I just really like how this turned out. And in the map it looks great. You get this extra blue, and we're gonna fill all of this water. Now this is a botanical garden. I didn't add any fish, but if you need a place to still add fish, you can add fish if you want to do for here, and that way you have something else to harvest and collect and all of that. But look at this, look at this. And then we added a little extra water right here on the front, and then in the map it just looks so good in the map. And I was like, okay, we got that design, and now it's time to duplicate. But before we finish here, we need to fix this here. So I'm gonna show you. So we want to open all the benches. Once again, I'm gonna wrap around the fence all around the hedges, because you got that little grass. Now I don't want to see at the moment, so I'm gonna try to hide it. We're gonna put the light posts behind the benches, because there used to be behind the hedges, so now we put it behind the benches. It's gonna have that little opening, and on the side, in the here and here where I'm standing, and on the other corner we're gonna put gates, so that way it's easy for you to harvest with the tractor, right? Because we want to make it easy accessible. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna have edge fencing right alongside the line over here, just to have that little separation, so you when looking for far away, you see that, and that's it. You're gonna duplicate it, right? So now the next thing that I did, I took all the old pathing out, and we're gonna add the new one. And now this is finally, once I added this one, now pathing is very subjective. Use the one that you want, you know, don't be afraid. You want to use the color one, you want to use wood, you want to use stone, you want to use the basic one. Pick the pathing that you like. That's going to be important, right? But this is the one that I chose. I feel like this one stands out. It has that little, you know, that it just has that little color. It goes great, it goes good with the area. It just feels just right, looks sharp, looks nice and clean, and I just love the way this turned out. Okay, so as you can see, look at the map. Look at this. Look at this. It looks so good. Oh man, we done a lot of work. We did a lot of work, and it gets exciting now. At nighttime, I did add a couple more lights. So we're gonna go like in the transition points. We're gonna add some lights. I added a couple more of cherry trees right inside this area. You don't have to do this. I really liked it. I just felt like it was a little simple. It wasn't connecting to the hallways. So by adding the cherry tree inside there, I felt like it was attaching, it was becoming, and then I added the lights. And the lights underneath it is gonna light up all these cherry trees. I think it's really nice. I love the new lights. It just brings this beautiful illumination at night. And not just there, but we're also gonna add it right here so you can see. Now, do the lights that you want, do the colors that you want. You can do more, you can do less. So we're gonna do all those corners, and then now we get the final look. And here is our beautiful garden, botanical garden, flower garden. And again, this is the colors that I choose. You can change this in any color, in any way, any fence, anything. But the idea is here for you to enjoy, for you to just have fun and decorate it, right? And maybe you come up even with better ideas as you're following this video. But as you can see, here it is. Here's the design. Now you can have each of the corner be different flowers too. You know, you can have a palette over there, another palette over here, another color palette. So do whatever you want when it comes to the coloring. But it is a big build. It does take a lot of space, but I think it just gives you this feel, and it's gonna give you this look. And I love now that we see more of that water falling into, and I love these waterfall effects. It just, before, what could we done there in the middle? I'm so happy with the waterfall idea. And look at the corners over there. You see that? You see that? That's what I want. And those are okay to be small, you know? And it's just the way everything's coming together. And as you can see, as we turn the camera and see the direction, look at this angle. Look how everything is just lining up just right. In any way that you look at it, you always see water. I love the little ponds right in the middle. And like I said again, I really like the walk without shoes. I know Susan was very happy. It's a nice light color, so it really complements the build, because you can see it's a little dark in the corners, even though it's green and it's flowers. It's not overly bright, so I do feel like the pathing stands out and it's part of this build. It gives you this look from the air, from far away, and really lights up the area. If you would go on darker because you like darker, then it would stand out in a different way. But I really like the way this is coming up right here. And there it is. There's the shot. There is the build, and there's the lake cabin back there. And now this is gonna connect to different ideas. So now me and Susan will be talking about, gonna give you a little hint. You know, we're gonna expand the mountain on the back, and one of the sides, you see that whole flower field over there, that is gonna become a little maze. A little maze that is gonna be attached to this garden. I'm so excited. I can't wait to start building that one. You know, a lot of ideas in the future for you guys to enjoy, to see what can be possible in this game from together. But here's the map, looking absolutely beautiful. I love every detail. I love the way everything looks when you add something, when you take something away. Just the little, it's just everything. It just looks like you know, somebody did a little bordering or something, but I don't know, it just looks great. And I'm so happy the way it came out, because that's the idea, in real life and in the map. And as you can see the light, you see the cherry, how the light is hitting the cherry trees, just looks absolutely beautiful. But guys, I do want to say thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I'll see you all on the next one. Alright guys, see you later. Bye. Oh my gosh, this trick looks so good. They just look so good.